adjust your dial, folks. You may be wondering, where's the audio? And that's a good question, because I wondered the same exact thing when I uploaded it and tried to edit in Premiere. Where is the audio? It was then that I realized I recorded an entire Get Ready With Me and the audio never actually recorded at all. So, we are going to have to do something slightly different then. This was originally going to be a Get Ready With Me while I answered questions about the pupettes, but since I recorded all of this and it has no audio, I figured I'll have to do it again and we'll do something different instead of Get Ready With Me, and we are going to do a Draw With Me instead. So let's do that, because yeah. Before I answer questions, I do want to explain what I plan on doing. I found this really cute image from Ziegfeld Follies that I thought would be perfect for the puppets, so I want to do the same thing and do some sort of banner with all of their heads and then the words "the puppets" in the middle. So that's what we're gonna do today. All right, let's answer some of these gosh darn questions. First question is by Pizza Pie 30. Do they have any foods or treats? And the answer is yes. Let's go through them. Gigi likes coffee. Chi-Chi likes elote. Momo likes matcha. Pom-Pom likes bread. Honey likes pastries. Zuzu likes fruits and berries. Bebe likes wine. Zaza likes black tea. Dottie also likes wine. Coco likes chocolate. And Scotty likes cigars and scotch. Question 2. Loveless Alexander asks, do you have a favorite puppet? I like all of them for different reasons, but I think the ones that I like the most are probably Pom-Pom, Gigi, Coco, and Zuzu. I think those are probably my favorites, but again, I like all of them for different reasons. Rat Ribs asks, what are your plans with the puppets? This is a very good question. I have a bunch of plans with them, and it's something I'm still trying to work out. I want to make a game with them. I have been planning on making a visual novel / rhythm app game, and I've been really slowly trying to build up a team to help me work on it, and also everything else that I need for something like that. But I am grappling with a lot of the logistics that go into making a game. So currently I'm exploring the option of just making it a visual novel because it makes it a little easier on my end, a little cheaper, everything just kind of plays out a little easier in general. It's really hard to make a full-fledged game when you don't have a studio, you have never made a game before, and you need a lot of money for it, and it's just a lot. So I'm trying to figure out the best way to go about this, but I have a lot of plans on a story with them, as well as merch stuff. I want to make bags, I want to make so many different things, different types of enamel pins, compacts, berets, dolls. Like, I would love to eventually just make a ton of merch for them. Woomy McGee asks, will there be any alternate universes for the puppets? I don't have any specific plans for it, but I think it would be fun to explore. I think it would be really cool to put them in like really modern clothes or something. It'd be something fun to explore, but I don't have any specific plans for it right now. Simone Uwu asks, ooh, what are their families like? Do they have a love interest? Who's their inspiration? What's their makeup routine? There's a lot of good questions in here. I don't have an answer to every single one. I know that since there are 11 girls, they all have very different lives and family structures and makeup tips and tricks and routines. So it's kind of different for everybody. For example, since we're working on Coco right now, she grew up on a farm. She comes from a very large family They did not have a ton of money, and it was a very tight-knit but huge family with tons of siblings. Some girls are more proficient in makeup than others. For example, Scotty really doesn't know anything about makeup, so anything that she does know, she has learned from the rest of the girls. Everyone gets their best makeup tips from Dottie, obviously, because she works at a makeup counter. Dang Darn Danny asks, how old are the Puppets girls? Rattle them off. Scotty is 29. Coco is 20. Dottie is 30. Zaza is 37. Bebe is 27. Zuzu is 22. Honey is 23. Pom Pom is 28. Momo is 25. Chi Chi is 18. And Gigi is 26. Gigi Illustrates asks, were any of the puppets inspired by old Hollywood actresses or vintage models? And the answer is yes, for most of them. Let's pause and take a look at some of the inspo. Zaza was inspired by Heidi Lamar, specifically this hairstyle and her elegance. Scotty was inspired by Marlene Dietrich's more androgynous looks. Coco was inspired by Jane Russell's spunk, specifically this country vibe here. Zuzu is obviously inspired by Brigitte Bardot and her hairstyle. Bebe is inspired by the sexy Betty Page. Honey was inspired by Joyce Bryant's soft, kind facial features. Chi Chi was inspired by Carmen Miranda's loud presence. Pom Pom is inspired by the essence of Marilyn Monroe. And while we're paused, I figured I would answer this next question. The Birdie74 asks, do you have designs for the Pearlesques? And the answer is yes, I do. I haven't talked much about them, but they are the rival quote-unquote team for the puppets, and they are all named after different types of fabric. And with that said, let's jump right back into our drawing session. Abyssal Nuisance asks, will you do a male cast like the puppets? I would love to see male body diversity. And I have no plans on making a male lineup like the puppets, but I do have male characters in the story that do have more diverse body types. So while you won't see it as a lineup like the puppets, there will still be a diverse cast of men, or males I should say, in the story. Gator Inc. asks, have you thought of making counterparts or giving a few girls a lover or partner? And I've thought pretty hard on this, and actually I've intentionally built this story to focus more on friendships and building a loving and trusting community as opposed to focusing around romantic relationships. I feel like there's a lot of stories out there that are great with that. I really wanted to focus more on just showcasing how to build friendships and what good friendships look like and what a good community looks like and how that has a positive impact on people's lives. I will say though that there's definitely a rumor amongst the fan base that Gigi and Duke might have a thing. Straw W. Berry asks, this is a suggestion really, but I would love to see what their bedrooms look like. That's a really cute idea, and I might have to illustrate that later. I have an idea of what everyone's bedrooms look like, but I think it's hard to explain it, so I'll have to draw it. Thanks for the suggestion. Lux S. White says, will there be a webcomic or a story about them going more in depth about how they are with each other? There's a webtoon that I started many years back that has a little bit about their interactions, but it's not completed because I decided I wanted to switch into making it into a game. Now I'm looking into a visual novel aspect that is kind of part game, part story, and I'm hoping that I can start getting that up soon. So yes, keep an eye out for it is the best I can say. Forgetmenot.png says, is there any more animal groups like the puppets or Pearlesques? To answer your question, I don't know. Particularly, The universe in my mind is just cats and dogs, just to keep it simple, I think, and not be super overwhelming. I haven't gone fully in depth on how I choose which animals are anthropomorphized and which aren't. So it gets really kind of complicated, and so currently I'm like, it's just dogs and cats. But I don't mind people creating their own characters in the Puppets universe that are different animals. I'm fine with it, just as long as people credit the Puppets as the original concept. Pumpkin asks, fun question, have you thought of what their voices would sound like, or their dream voice actors, dead or alive? I don't have any specific voice actors. My dream voice actors, honestly, would be a different person for each girl that I feel like could bring their personality to the table and just really, really expand on it. I would like to have a very diverse cast of voice actors, so that means I would want an Afghan woman or Middle Eastern woman to do the voice for Zaza, and a Japanese woman to do the voice for Momo. I have kind of what I imagine their voices would sound like, but not specifically based off of specific people. For example, I think Bebe has a very sultry, kind of raspy, smoky voice. And I think that Chi-Chi has a very loud, boisterous voice. And Zuzu has a sexy, soft, flirtatious voice. Shannon asks, what inspired you to use the particular pups you used for each puppet? Are there certain personality traits you had in mind for each of the girls and then chose a type of pup to model after them? If you had to redesign them, would you have assigned different types for each girl or even completely different animals? This is a really, really good question. Half of the puppets were based off of dogs that I like. Either I want them, or I own them, or I like watching them from afar. And then the other half were kind of dogs that other people ended up voting on way, way, way back when I was initially creating this whole concept. Their personalities are actually based off of the type of breed that they are. So their appearance and also how they act is based off of the temperament of each dog. So when I was designing them, I actually looked up all of the dog breeds and read about them and read about their temperaments and read about some facts and incorporated that into the personalities of the girls. So I wouldn't actually change any of their personalities because I feel like they are appropriate for the type of dog breed that they represent. I changed some of their appearances and I guess races specifically because I wanted a little bit more of a diversity, and some of the dog breeds that I did pick, a lot of them were mostly from European countries. So I think if I were to do it again, maybe I would try to find even more diverse dog breeds, but I actually do really like the ones that I chose. For example, Scotty looks and acts the way she does because Scottish Terriers only come in black. And they are very, very driven, tough dogs that actually have the nickname the Die Hard. They work and work and work and will work until they bleed, and they're very independent, and they really only ever attach to like one person. So a lot of the traits of a Scottish Terrier I put into Scotty. Cynthia Lee says, what's the biggest influence in your art style? Also favorite dog breed? And have you ever seen a Zolo? The biggest influence in my art is probably just a lot of the vintage cartoons that I grew up watching. Fantasia, Tom and Jerry, Looney Tunes, Betty Boop. I watched a lot of vintage cartoons growing up. My favorite dog breed is the Pomeranian, so I have a slight bias towards Pom Pom because she is my favorite type of dog. And yes, I have seen Zolos. I've never seen one in real life, but I have seen many pictures of them. I frequent a dog group on Facebook that is all about various purebred dogs, and I have learned a lot from there. So I have seen many Zolos posted in that group. Last but not least, Vintage Noir asks, will you ever get into the story of the Pearlesques? And yes, I will. I will get into the entire story of them, plus how they interact with the puppets and everything, because they are actually a very, very, very large part of the overarching storyline of the puppets in general. So you will actually end up learning a lot about them once I make the story. Anyway, I hope that this was fun for you guys. I hope this answered a bunch of questions. If you have any other questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below, and I will try my best to answer everything. I hope you liked watching this whole process. Let me know if there's anything you look forward to or you're excited about. Follow me on all my social media stuff, and let's check out the reveal.